Magdalene. Woman, no need to search any longer, the priestess of wealth. Woman, it is time to heal thyself.
Welcome, Neela. You are one of, I would say, the best person that I know that connects to Kali so deeply. And the reason that I'm saying that is when I first met you in Sedona, I think that was 2014 or something like that.
Yes.
First book, and you talked to all these women. And then, of course, you came after that workshop that we had, a little talk that we had, you came and did one of my first Women Arising. So that was really amazing. That was the beginning. And now that we're doing the International Summit, there you are again. You are first one online to be interviewed for this amazing summit that we're doing. So I really appreciate you. And I want to thank you again for really joining me and being such a, I don't know, I look up to you because of well, it's
too kind.
Yes, thank you. But your success in, you're a teacher, you write books. That's not my, that's not my top thing, to write books, but you're doing it, and you're doing it in such a way that you're combining that East and the West together, and you're really bringing that together about the goddess, the mother. The mother is so important, and it's not just Mother Kali, but Kali is just a representative for us, but all the other goddesses like Mary Magdalene and, all the Dark Madonna that I know you are ready to go research in south of France right now, and Sarah, and just all this stuff. I'm getting chills as I'm talking to you, but I'm going to let you kind of tell me a little bit about the first book that we first met. And then we can go into the second that you just finished. Yeah, it's been finished for a while now, but tell me a little bit about the first book that you wrote.
Sure, Zephy. So first, thank you so much for inviting me to join this. You've been doing amazing work. And that first, the Woman Arising I attended, I met such incredible people, practicing people. I'm, after all, an academic. I'm a professor. Generally, I'm a professor of English, and I teach women's studies. And I have created a course called The Goddess in World Religions. And that's what brought me to the wider world in many ways, because I suddenly realized that there are so many young women who benefited from the course in understanding themselves. So the first book actually came out, the first book was called In the Beginning is Desire, Tracing Kali's Footprints in Indian Literature. You can see that blue cover, in the background. So the way it came out is that when I came to this country many, many years ago now, more than 30 years ago, I did not think that I will ever talk about my personal relationship with Kali, because that was something deeply personal and unformed, and, but what happened is that people in this country dismiss goddesses completely. And anytime any conversation will come up, and the idea was that Indian women are all oppressed and goddesses don't mean anything. And that kind of bugged me a lot because I grew up with Kali, this very powerful, amazing, and my deep personal relationship. So slowly I started to open my mouth, and then I attended a Kali conference in New York, organized by Columbia and Barnard, these big universities, and I was shocked. I said, people have conferences on Kali? So that kind of brought me to, and then I went there and I started to ask questions. And that somehow probably was the seed of someday writing this book. So then I ended up getting a sabbatical, and somehow this book arose. I didn't even think that I could write a book, but I found that I was talking about Kali in one way or the other. But the main reason that I had to talk about Kali and return to India, because people were not looking at me as a professor of English, etc., etc. They were looking at me as an Indian woman, right? Racialized and gendered. So then I had to almost go back and face my own identity, right? Who am I? You know, whatever I thought I was, people were seeing something different because they have this idea of third world country, poor oppressed women that need to be saved by America, etc., etc. So, so then this book is basically about India. It's about India's history from the ancient times. The title in the beginning is Desire, comes from a Vedic text, very, very wonderful creation hymn, a very complex hymn, but it arose in me in the way these things arise, as you know, even the title, I saw the vision of Kali's, footprints with her, anklet feet that showed up in my vision. So, and then I go back, look at the whole of India's history up to the post-colonial times and find women's desire as the theme in all of these texts, novels, plays. I'm a literature professor. So I look at these texts and I create what I call thought periods, like ancient pre-Buddhist time, then the Buddhist times, and then classical time, then the Islamic time, then later colonial, British colonial times, and then the post-colonial. And so each textbook looks at the thought period, but the theme is through female desire and the intensity and how desire breaks our identity and connects us with Kamakhya, because Kamakhya is the name, its name, one whose name is desire, right? So the intensity of desire and the problem, because all the world's religions see it as something utterly negative, but that is the creative force. If we do not understand this power, creative energy of the Great Mother, then we create violence, we create almost schizophrenic identity about ourselves, because we think that the divine is somewhere away from the body. But that was not my experience, and that wasn't something that I grew up with. I grew up with Kali. I had a very powerful Shaktipat experience, which I did not know in my 20s, given to me by my family's very powerful tantric master, whom I met when I was a child, Siddhama. So all these things at that time, I didn't want to talk about, because I thought, who's going to listen to all this? But my editor forced me to talk about my personal experiences. So in the introduction, I do talk about my own, my family's connection with my father was a great Kali worshipper. So that's how the first book kind of came out. And I suddenly found myself in the world of religious studies. People wanted to know more about this. And that's how, and then I created the course, because I wondered what happened to the Mother God in the Western world, right? Because everybody I talk to, this God is male, and the female has nothing to do with divinity. And that kind of, I knew theoretically even before I came to this country, but I did not realize how intensely ingrained that idea was. So that kind of put me in this crazy journey of trying to look for the mother. That's where the second book came out, called Absent Mother God of the West, a Kali lover's journey into Christianity and Judaism.
Well, I just want to ask you still something about the first book, because I remember when you first came and gave that talk in my house in Sedona. It was so amazing, because at that time you were still struggling with the idea of, am I okay? Am I okay to bring this out? Am I okay to really understand that desire? And this is what I really want a lot of women to start understanding, that the desire, as I'm telling you this and asking you this question, I'm getting chills everywhere. The desire is so powerful. And the Mother Kali is in all of us. And Kamakhya, it's about having that desire and feeling good about it, not being ashamed of it, not being ashamed of our bodies, not being ashamed of feeling desired, or, worried about this and that, and have all these complications in our minds and in our heads about who we are as women when we feel those feelings, correct? Because when we
Right,
feel those
right.
feelings, what happens is we try to hide it and block them and saying we're bad. And we tell our little girls, don't feel that. And, you know, can you just kind of talk a little bit about that? Because to me, that was amazing when you first came. And when was it? 2014 or something like that? 13, I don't remember.
Yeah, 2014, when I went and stayed with Jana. At that time I was translating a Muslim poet's Kali songs.
Remember
I had a
that.
sabbatical. That's when I first met you. Yes, absolutely. You were right. See, I did not grow up with negativity about the body. So that's why it shocked me. But of course, I mean, there are a lot of Indian women do. So it's not like India, everybody still has patriarchy. It has troubles because it has also misrepresented the tantric tradition and all kinds of other messy things. But this deep connection with the Great Mother, and because of this powerful dissolution experience that happened as a result of the Shaktipat, which at that time I did not know what that was. I did not know that the root of the Adya Kali, right, that's beyond the binary, beyond the polarity or the two dualities of male and female, the Great Mother gives birth to both masculine and the feminine. And it is through this desire that creation comes into being and then goes back inside the mother's womb. And women's bodies inhabit that power. But of course, it's a very powerful energy if we do not know to manage it. So you don't want to get too stuck to it, or you don't want to run away from it. So this wonderful Vajra balance, which I learned slowly once my guru arrived, in 2012. That's a whole other story. But it is into my initiation into the tantric path, because the Shakti path, I didn't even know that had happened. But it changed my life because I had this complete dissolution experience. So, and it was through this intensity of feelings and desires and being completely overwhelmed by what was happening to me. So yes, telling little girls or little boys that there's something wrong with our bodies actually forces them to go to the other extreme, which I found when I came to the United States. And from my experiences with the young women in my classroom, who had this, they thought they were sexually free, but they were actually not free. They were so troubled by their body image. They were constantly talking about boyfriends and this issue, that issue. And I also didn't understand what kind of feminism is that, which is obsessed with men and at the same time hating men. So then as so in that book, while I was writing it, because I was on a sabbatical for a year, I also had an opportunity to sit at a class at Columbia, which was about non-duality in Indo-Tibetan traditions. So then I realized that this Indic tradition that understood, the tantric tradition understood the power of desire, but it neither suppressed it nor indulged excessive indulgence. Like in the Western world, people, promiscuous life, but it did not make people happy, right? Just because you overindulge in sexuality, that does not make people happy either, because that is not how human beings are. So through writing that book, I understood the way desire is portrayed in different religions, in philosophies, in literature. And literature, after all, is about human experience, right? And every time these female figures express their desire or feel it intensely, either patriarchy tries to manage it for them because they have not been given the tools, which Tantra does, as you know, as a Kamakya yogini. The Tantra gives women these tools, while most ordinary women have no idea. So they either have to follow the restrictive notion and kind of suppress the creative energy within them. And the creative energy can be giving birth to children. That is a manifestation that more women experience, but still that does not necessarily free them from the mental troubles that conditioned life creates, right? So slowly and slowly writing that book, I learned theoretically. I sat in the libraries and I found so many books and I was shocked. I said the huge, big, famous universities in the United States have all these books on Tantra, right? And in India, people think Tantra is black magic. In the US, people think it's some sort of nothing but sex, but that's not what Tantra is. It's a transformational, powerful system of knowledge and transformation. So writing that book got me to do the research part, because what I was experiencing, I didn't have words for. That's why when I was in your place, I was tentative, not sure, but it was the beginning of the textual journey and teaching, because I started to teach the class, right? While I was researching more into it. So that's how it kind of started rolling. I learned a lot, but still did not know. My only guru at the time was my inner Kali, right? Which of course was, my father was a Kali worshipper. We went to, yes, like today is Saturday, my father would insist on going to the Kali temple on Saturday in his old age. But when I was a child, every new moon night we visited. I don't remember a single Amavasya, new moon night, when we did not visit the Kali temple.
Yeah.
And every full moon night, of tomorrow is a Buddha Purnima, very powerful Buddha Purnima, Buddha, this thing, because my right now my Vajra Guru teaches through Vajrayana Buddhism, Shakta and Shaiva Buddhism. He belongs to every tradition. But growing up in that rhythm of the dark night and the lighted night is this, I call it dancing dualities, the dance of light and dark, that both arise from what I call the mother principle. So that's why that first book is so important to me, because it's only by going through that writing process, researching, a totally lonely journey, that what I was experiencing in my entire being slowly started to make sense to me.
And, that's what I wanted to talk about it, because there may be a lot of women that are going through this lonely journey and they don't understand
Right.
what's going on. And, understanding the difference of in the West, mixing the sexual energy and being promiscuous, that's what they think Tantra is. And then in India, they think it's black magic, and all that stuff.
Right.
But it's in my path, I try always to show people that the yogini path has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with the creative energy and your sensual energy, and how that you can help the world and help yourself. So thank you for explaining that, because that's a very powerful journey. And I always appreciated your journey, because you know my journey with Kali. Yes. And she's my mother and she's there for me. I don't talk about her all the time, but it's something that we keep very kind of sacred, for us.
Yes.
When we get initiated and we get our Shaktipots and all that, we become that Kali, which is the most powerful thing. But we can talk about that another day.
Sure.
Another Women Arising, when we probably do one in person. But so thank you for that, for the first book. And now the connection comes to your next book. When did you do your next book? When did you start writing that? Because I don't remember.
Right. So when I started to teach that class, The Goddess in World Religions, that's when, so in the meantime, I was going to Europe all the time for conferences, academic conference. It was called, International Association for Philosophy and Literature. So I was traveling a lot in Europe, and I didn't know that almost unconsciously, I was searching for the lost mother of the Western world. And I will see this powerful, Notre Dame. They're all about Our Lady. It's all about, the Virgin Mary. And before that, I don't remember exactly when, I had come across a book called Longing for Darkness, Tara and the Black Madonna by China Galan. And I was shocked to hear that there was a Black Madonna, and that made no sense, because the racist notions of whiteness and blackness and all these things. And if there is a Black Madonna in say Africa or Latin America, like Guadalupe, will make sense. There's a Black Madonna right outside Zurich.
Yeah.
So it was like shocking to me. And that book actually made a huge impact. I teach that book in my course also, because here was a Western woman, a Catholic woman, who was completely disillusioned in the beginning with her religion. And then she goes to India and Nepal, like so many people go, searching for the spiritual thing in the Eastern world, and discovers Kali and Tara, and and then experiences, and then returns to her tradition through the Black Madonna. So in a way, I didn't know at that time, I was making a reverse journey into her world of Christianity and Judaism, searching for that. So a lot of it was not planned. I was traveling and then writing and simply teaching the class. And everywhere I went, whether women had PhDs or they were young people, when I will ask them about God, they will always say he. And some will say, no, God has no gender, it's just a spirit. I said, then I will say, can you imagine that God in female form? And always no. And I remember one experience with the PhD, a woman, I said that, why is that? Why is God male and can never be female? He said, because female is body. I said, I was shocked. I said, if highly educated women think that the male is spirit and female is body, and there is a difference between them. So God is nothing but spirit and female is nothing but body. So the woman was completely erased from the space of the divine then. So the earth is also matter. Earth can be exploited, destroyed. Everything that is feminized, right, turned into female is not divine. So your body, so then you have this split. So I do this experiment in my classes also, that how it will create almost like a schizophrenic personality. You will hate your body, you will hate, and you have to, and then you indulge, right? It seems like that was the crux of a lot of the problems, body image problem and, sexual troubles and promiscuity or thinking, or you always want to please the man. That's the other thing I found. In the name of some kind of strange sexual liberation, it was all about, there's nothing, but in the tantric tradition, they're very clear that these two are not the same thing. Male sexuality and female sexuality are different. And it's a spectrum. It's not like, and it's also not necessarily just heterosexual, because this tradition accepts everything. Exactly. But it is in the process of going into the Western tradition. When I discovered the Black Madonna, I remember when I went to the Black Madonna in Einsiedeln, right outside of Zurich. Oh my God, that's how my second book begins, with my trip to that shrine. And I discovered Mary Magdalene, I discovered Black virgins all over the place, and I realized there is a huge suppressed tradition of the Great Mother. And in the meantime, I also found out so many women in the Western world were writing about it. Feminist theologians were writing about it, historians, because women were experiencing it, that how come, what happened to the Great Mother? But my personal thing was because I grew up with one. I took her for granted. I did not realize what I call mother hunger in my second book, that why the Great Mother is necessary. At this time in history, and for women's life and for men's lives, because without that presence, symbolic presence at least, we lose our connection with the earth, with our bodies, and that leads to mental illness, that leads to severe, all kinds of dysfunction. So the second book then brings me to the Western world, Christianity and Judaism, and I discovered Shekinah in Judaism. And that that was published in 2016. It's been a while now. And then because I realized I had only touched the surface of it, and I began looking at Gnosticism, Kabbalah, the mystical aspects. I was already familiar with mystical Islam. I wrote about that in my first book, Sufi tradition. And I grew up with, Islam in India in many ways. So I had deep connection with Sufism, but it is in my discovery of the Gnostic path that I began the third journey that I'm on right now, which hopefully will finish once I write my book on Mary Magdalene.
That is great. I can't wait to have that book. And then I'm going to have to bring you to Greece, so you can definitely experience Mary Magdalene here before you finish the book. And also,
okay.
we get connect to the ancient Greeks goddesses.
Yes.
Starting from the Titans, because the Titans are like before the 12 gods, like for example, Hecate. So that will be something that me and you can connect to when you come here. I'll show you that, because as you know, I have moved to Greece right now to do that. That's why we're doing it internationally summit.
Yes.
I'm not just in Sedona anymore, but this is so amazing to bring. I always felt, for me, India, that the goddess has been worshipped for thousands of years, non-stop, correct? And the temples at 6:30 at night, it's just everything non-stop. In the Western world, the goddess is not worshipped as much. Yes, we do have the Mother Mary churches and people go, but it's not a daily thing like it's in India. So to me, it's so amazing that India has kept the mother goddess so, like, I have to say, it's like I can't even express anymore, so
alive. She's alive there.
Yes, that's it. So precious and alive, for all these thousands of years. And now this is what we're trying to do, is wake it up in the Western world. That is a big step for a lot of women that they're doing, like you're writing, and all those other women that are writing, and we go and do ceremonies, and we go to the south of France to connect to Mary Magdalene, and to all those places that we're going, that you're going to be going there in May. So I can't wait when you come back, because I've been there 3-4 times. So I want to know your experience and how you going to connect it to Kali and to the everything you'll be writing. But it's just, I don't know, it's just a powerful energy to understand our bodies and to know that we are that goddess. I'm not talking Kali, I'm talking the goddess, just mother. Like, because, the Druids, for example, had the mother as the women. Many traditions, like even the Vikings were very equal. Women were very equal to the men, correct? And that the Christianity has suppressed us so much. And some other, and then he ran into other traditions, correct? Because Christianity, that changed a little bit in India too, but our bodies are so beautiful. And in Tibetan tradition, most of the goddesses are topless, as we know, correct? And Kamakya, I'm not going to talk about it, but Kamakya, she's fully naked, and she's in a beautiful way, also showing who she is. And so it's very interesting that you're saying that it could become psychological for us, that we abuse ourselves and we don't respect our bodies, and we don't respect because we're not respecting, maybe we don't even know that we are that goddess. That's why there's no respect. So can you give any tips on that, respecting ourselves and connecting?
Yes. What I do, Zephy, by the way, since you mentioning Greece, it is in a Greek island. I told you before, in Pythagoreio in Samos, that I had an extremely powerful experience. Energy, almost, I do not know. I was told later by my gurus that it was a transmission in the Virgin Cave of the Virgin Mary. It was absolutely incredibly powerful. So what I do, in all my classes, no matter what I'm teaching, I tell people to observe their minds.
Okay.
It is through awareness of what is arising in us that we can see what is happening to us. Most of the time, we are completely unconscious. How to respect the body, you have to realize that your mind and body and spirit, they're connected together. They're not separate, but we don't know. So first we have to actually separate them in the sense you use your mind to watch. So I tell my students, for 2 minutes, just see what your mind is doing. And in 2 minutes, they realize that they are not present, that mind's running all over the place. They are anxiety, they have anxious about maybe next class. They are thinking what happened yesterday. So I said, think about it. You're sitting in this classroom, right? Taking my class, even if I'm teaching a writing class, or a literature class, but your mind is somewhere else. Your mind is not present. So coming to presence is such an important thing. And it's through body. Then I tell them, become aware of your sensations. See, my Vajra Guru taught what is called Spanda Vipassana. There are many other Sanskrit names, but it's recognizing the foundational vibration of our bodies. That vibration is the vibration of the cosmos. It's this amazing, which is called Spanda in Sanskrit, which is this energy vibrating through our body. But since we are all the time in our heads, this is what patriarchy has done. By patriarchy here, I don't mean the rule of men. By patriarchy here, I mean excessive head-based knowledge. Yes. So we have to first realize that being in our heads is not a good thing. That does not make us rational. That does not give us guidance, because we lose the wisdom of the body. So we actually have to become aware of the sensations and not get attached to it one way or the other. Neither condemn it nor, get too attached to it. And that's the skill that Tantra teaches at the most basic level. And then you have to do your own kind of psychotherapy. The best thing, of course, is through a teacher. A teacher will know exactly what you need. And in the end, like actually I have this wonderful Kala Chakra right in, you probably can't see it unless I.
Oh yeah, the Kala Chakra. Yeah.
The Kala Chakra image, where in the you have to recognize the three energies of sex, greed, and anger. So by observing ourselves through these practices, through rituals, through, of course, India has created elaborate methods. And then I discovered that Gnostic tradition, Sufi tradition, Kabbalist tradition, they all have their ways of doing it. But the simplified ways, simple ways, and without talking about religion or anything, first step is simply becoming aware of what is happening to you, what is happening in your mind, what is happening in your body, and breathing exercise, simple things can start the journey somewhere. There are people who want to learn more. There are people who dismiss it, but that's fine. Everybody has to make up their own, But to take you to, since this, you can see in the background, dancing with the sky-clad goddess. Sky-clad is this one who doesn't wear any clothes because she's reality. Nature of reality is a naked reality. So how do we see the powerful energies? Sex, greed, and anger, that's there, but Tantra actually forces you to look at death. It looks at how death and sexuality are intertwined together. And we are afraid, we are afraid, we cling to life, but we do not realize that these two are part of the same thing. So it's through my, that Goddess in World Religions class, where students bring in these Greek traditions, Wiccan traditions, in Norse. I just finished teaching my mythology course, and the students brought so many new things from these traditions. So every tradition has that basic shamanic element that Tantra is actually based on, but it has developed very sophisticated technologies of the mind and psychotherapy, right? A big part of his psychotherapy to recognize where these, knots are untying the knots in your body and mind, which Eckhart Tolle calls pain bodies. And in Malta, when I was traveling, I discovered a Mary who does the same thing. She unties the knots.
Yeah. Yeah.
So women need to know these traditions. How do we untie the knot? So we reduce conflict in our everyday life. And Tantra is not about some other world. It's about reality here and now. And the great mother who shows up in different forms. It doesn't matter what you call her, but she's there in every tradition. Whatever little I have discovered, I'm very grateful for those people who dismissed my goddess, right? Who said she doesn't matter. Because of that, I ended up discovering her everywhere,
Yes.
which I was feeling anyway. But then simply through the journey and the Greek word, my God, I met Athena, Aphrodite, Artemis. And actually, one chapter in my second book is about the three goddesses that I actually meet in my journeys. So yeah, it's just the women need to recognize that will make them truly independent, not just, see, you may have economic independence, you may have political, social, very important things. But if you do not have psycho-spiritual independence, everything falls apart in your everyday life.
Exactly.
So that transformative aspect is vital for young people today, both women and men.
So the thing that I wanted to ask you is, can you tell me a little bit about the course that you're going to be offering for our viewers? Because,
Right.
you sign up, the first two that sign up, they would get it for free. And then, that's the gift that you're giving, and everybody else
Okay.
will get like a 20% off or something. And we're going to set it up. Don't worry. She's traveling and we're going to do everything.
Okay. So thank you so much, Zephy, for even suggesting it, because it didn't even occur to me. The reason, so what am I offering? I didn't have anything because I just have a website and I have this book, but I do write a blog called Stand Under the Mother Principle, which has lots of essays people can read. But this course, yes. So what happened, another group had asked me to teach a course, which is about the, basically a short version of my semester-long academic course. So I have these videos. So I have an introductory video that people can watch, and I use that course to do some fundraising. So the same thing can happen here. The first video can be for free. People can watch it. If they want to take the rest of it, then you will set it up for whichever way, the base donation.
Academy. Yeah, through the
right, for the Healing Academy, and you'll set that up. And so that's already there. People can watch the first video, and then they can take the rest of it based on donation. So that's one thing. The other thing that I have been also doing, giving short conversations about a particular aspect. If students are interested, I could provide workshops. I have on my website, there is a flyer for possible workshops, weekend interactive workshops. That can be done later. But right now, I have this set of videos which are already taught with a group of women who paid for it, and I managed to raise funds for some of the philanthropic work that I support. So I will do the same thing for this. So that's kind of simply telling you about all the world's different goddesses. As I said, it's a short version of my course. But yes, if you're the group of people in your academy are interested, that is something that I'll be more than happy to offer.
Yes, I just want to tell everybody though that it's going to be a little bit delayed because you're leaving for south of France.
I know.
You'll be traveling.
Yes.
When she comes back in June. If you're interested though, you can sign up through womenarising.com. Yes, through my website, and then I will I'll have all that information and send it to you, because she's going to be traveling, so I'm going to take over and help her through.
Yes. Actually, thanks to you, I connected with the people there, and I'm leaving on Friday. So I will be back at the end of June, and then we can do the rest of it. But yes, I'm very excited about visiting, the grotto and attend that, this 3-day ceremony in, Saint Maurice de la Mer. So let's see how these things open up. So maybe later I can offer other things. Thanks
just
to
go
your
ahead
blessings, Zephy.
Oh, thank you. So go ahead and take some red clothes and connect with the gypsies in south of France and be there with Sarah and dance with them. And they're just a very lively group. It doesn't happen like it used to happen anymore.
Okay.
Fire on the, they used to hold up fires in the sand and do all this dancing all night, singing. They don't do so much, but they do it at daytime. But I can't wait to hear your experience because, it's an amazing trip. It's really very powerful, the south of France and the time of her and, waking up with her in those 3 days and then going to the grotto and doing all that. And then going to, how you say, Le Ban, where you're going to go to meet my friends there. That's amazing.
Yes.
So this is what Women Horizon is about, correct? We
Yes.
just connect everyone with everyone. And women need to really start connecting with each other and themselves.
Yes.
First of all, is helping them. I think Women Rising is helping them really connect with who they are. And that's what the whole purpose is,
Absolutely. Because if they do not connect with that deep thing, they cannot reduce conflict in their own lives. And right now, the planetary situation, we have to know ourselves in order to really respect Mother Earth and the abundance that we have all around. Because what has happened is that we have turned into hungry ghosts, like, tantric traditions have this pretas. We, in the middle of plenty, we suffer from, all the time there's deprivation, even though we have been given everything. So this is a very important time for Women Arising and helping ourselves, our families, our loved ones, our husbands, partners, sons, men in our lives, and live peacefully with them. It is not like the other thing that I was so kind of troubled by is that there is easy way to blame men and not take responsibility, right? But so more we know about ourselves, more we connect with this profound energy, creative, beautiful, creative energy and destructive energy, because it's connected, right? We need to understand that, that it's part of life. And if we can dance, that's why I call it dancing dualities, men and women dancing together, Jesus and Mary Magdalene dancing together, Shiva Shakti, whatever name, yin yang, whatever you call, it's inside us. These energies are inside us. And once we learn to balance that, then we can, in the process, balance the external world also. So very important work that you're doing, Zephy. And I'm deeply grateful to be included in your efforts.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for you to be here, but also, the tantric path is about the balance. And it's always taught to me that if I don't balance who I am, I cannot really go out there to even live every day, to step out every day. So that's what I check in with myself every morning. Am I balanced before? Is my masculine and feminine balance? That's the principle of Tantra, I think, the beginning of principles.
Absolutely.
So I can't wait for the girls to, for the women that are going to sign up to get your course. And I'm very excited. I want to thank you for this. And I want to thank you so much for participating on this international Women Rising, because you were in the first one. So now we're going internationally. We're not in Sedona anymore. And I want women all over the world to understand what they are and who they are and how to respect and love themselves. And that's one of the purpose of Women Rising. And I just want to really thank you for your blessings for being here, because before we got on, I got a call from my guru in India at Kamakya. And, your guru, I connect to your guru too, because I have connected with him too. And he's actually on Zoom tonight. It's kind of interesting how we get the blessing of our gurus to actually do this work. And and spread it out
I'll
there.
be nothing. I will be nothing without the gurus. So Guru Pranam, and you are too. Everybody is a teacher, right? But the deep, I mean, I cannot begin to tell you what the gurus have done. So thank you for remembering.
Oh, absolutely, because this is our work. You know, we are also teachers and students at the same time. And to me, that's
Right.
the biggest opportunity that I have in this lifetime is to be a teacher and a guru. And I know you feel it. So, so thank you so much again. It was lovely. I will, you know, take care of everything for you when you're traveling. And thank you, ladies, for watching this incredible interview and this incredible teaching that I had with Neela. And we'll see you on the next interview. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.